So this is the Alpha 77, which houses a 24.3 megapixel sensor, which is the highest so far in a crop camera. Well, now being competed by the D3200, but at the time this was announced, it was the highest pixel count on a crop camera. So as you can see, live view comes on by default on the A77 when you turn it on, and the back is riddled with buttons. And these buttons are actually pretty well, in my opinion, designed because they give you access to some of the basic, most features of the camera. There's a dedicated movie button, a button to start stop AF, exposure lock. There is a dial that controls your focus points, a display button for showing information on the LCD. There's a function button and a default button for delete and playback. The screen, which is an interesting one, just get that back on there. There we go. This is a three-way swivel screen, so it can come out like that. You can turn around and can even go downwards, and it adjusts automatically according to how the screen has been tilted or swiveled around. So this is especially going to be very good for people who want to make films, because the screen can be moved, allowing the camera to take on unconventional angles. So we have that. On the top here, we have a very basic setup with the shutter button, the on-off toggle, and there's a dial here and a dial back here, which would control the various settings. In manual mode, they'd control the aperture and the shutter speed. There is a button to turn off the LCD and just use the viewfinder. The viewfinder has an optical eye sensor, which means the minute your eye goes up to the viewfinder, the LCD turns off and the viewfinder kicks in, which is an electronic viewfinder. So the buttons on top are pretty modest. It's a very simple setup: white balance, your burst mode, exposure compensation, and ISO. On the left we have the mode dials. The mode dial is actually very interesting. Normally the various modes on the dial are just printed using ink, but these seem to be embossed with metal. Adds a really nice touch to it. And then there is the dial itself is rubber with a thorny pattern, making sure that if you just want to slip your thumb, and turn the dial, you can do that. Adds to the grip. On the left side we have the various ports, as you can see here. There's a mic in, plug-in power, remote, a DC in, and there's the HDMI and USB. There's also a built-in GPS module, so in case you want to geotag your images. The focusing system on the A77 employs a physical switch, which can change from manual mode to constant focus, focus tracking, or just one-shot focus type right here. And on the front, as you can see, you have the you have the illuminator light, which helps with focusing and reducing red eye. And you also have on the hand grip an infrared receiver in case you're using an infrared remote to control the camera. There is an interesting feature here built into this A77, which is the mic on top. It's a stereo mic, and you can take a look at it better once I pop up the flash. So as you can see, it's a pretty deep grooved mic, and it has a built-in wind cut filter, which in our tests we'll figure out how effective it is. But the addition of a stereo mic to a DSLR is definitely something we would love. Most DSLRs these days just feature a mono mic. The flash itself raises pretty high, so you don't have to worry about a shadow being cast if you're using a moderately long lens like ours. So let's put that back into place. Then we have the flash hot shoe. The cover is a nice touch. So there we go. All in all, the camera feels, well, heavy, but in a sturdy way. It doesn't feel overbearing. We don't feel tired holding it. The grip is extremely comfortable. The contours on the back and on the front on the hand grip are just amazing. So if you're using this camera with a professional grade lens, there's a very good possibility that the lens itself will be heavy, and with the bulk of the camera, the weight distribution will be very, very even. So we don't have to worry about that. So that's the hands-on for the Alpha 77. It's a well-built, sturdy camera. It's not very heavy, but it does not feel like it's a cheap plastic body. With the magnesium alloy skeleton, there is no way it would feel like one. The buttons are pretty well designed. They don't have any slack whatsoever, and we cannot wait to do a full review for the Alpha 77. There you have it.